what we call reactions, okay? You can choose to wave your hand, okay? So if somebody has a question later on, okay, as we're going through this, somebody has a question, all you need to do is hit that icon, okay, that symbol. Then at the end of that slide, we'll stop to answer your question, okay? I would prefer that we wait until we finish a module. There's basically, I think, 4 modules in a presentation, okay? So rather than stop after every slide, I prefer that we wait until we reach the end of the module, okay? I think it's gonna be more organized that way. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there are two tests, 2 exams, short exams, just to assess your knowledge and see how much you're learning. At the end of the presentation, there's a poll to see what you guys think about your leadership style and what kind of leader that you think you are, okay? I will share that with you guys, so it gives you a chance to kind of participate, okay? All right, so are there any questions at all?
Oh, nice.
Any questions? No?
I think Rami has a question.
No, no. It's okay.
Go ahead, Rami, don't be shy.
No, it's okay.
Muhammad, you can be a
Ons,
good
is that you, Ons?
coordinator.
Sorry, Mariam?
You can be a good coordinator.
Coordinator.
Coordinate.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Yes,
A
somebody has a
translator.
question.
Sorry.
What is your question?
Oh.
Somebody
Go ahead.
raise your
Go ahead,
hand.
Mariam, go ahead.
What did you say?
Ons, is that you? Okay. Okay, Yassine's gonna join us too, so let me let
Okay, Rick.
Yassine in. Okay.
Rick.
Yes.
Okay, so I've seen the post, of course, that you've already, of course, published on Facebook.
Mhm.
So we are going to talk about leadership and whether it's, of course, we are going to discuss whether or what kind of style is best or is better for us or for everyone. So can we talk about our favorite style in leadership or in leading people? Mm-hmm. Or let's
Yeah,
start
certainly.
between, yeah, or let's say let's discuss the difference between leadership and other things. Let's say.
Yeah, what we'll do, Mohammed, at the end of the material, we'll have a period of time available to have an open discussion, where maybe we can discuss, the preferred type of leadership, that we work under most effectively. We could talk about, of course, the worst style leadership. So what we'll do, we'll go for about an hour. That leaves us 20 to 30 minutes to have discussions. Okay, so that's what we'll do, right?
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is, for tonight, I'm recording this, so everybody knows I'm recording it. So I will modify it because I'm going to chop off the front of it to make it more professional. And then I will save it, and then I will post it. And again, you guys hear me right, pretty good, right? There's no problems with the audio?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right.
It's because you put a lot of effort in it. It should be working.
So why don't we go ahead and we'll get started. If people join us, that's fine, but I don't want to keep you guys waiting. So welcome everybody. Hopefully you can hear me fine. You can see everything fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, okay? So let me share my screen. And for those that saw some of this the last time, I apologize. You're going to see it again because, there may be some new people here that weren't here last time. So I'm going to quickly go through, and I'll do it more quickly this time. Okay, so give me just a second here to move my icons over a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about leadership styles and knowing when to use the right style for the right situation, okay? It's very, very important to know what style to use in what situation, right? Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick personal introduction. I think most of you know me, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time there. Professional background, same thing. I think most of you were here last time, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Okay. Dreams of Motion organization, same thing. Most of you are familiar, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. Okay, what I'm going to focus on describing the 6 major leadership styles. Okay. So give me just a second. There's 2 people in the waiting room, so let me add them. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I will talk about the 6 major styles. There are other styles, but for general purposes, there are 6 major ones. So I'm going to cover those. Right? Okay. We're going to have a mini quiz to see how much you guys remember about the styles. Okay. Then we're going to talk about when to use the right style for the right situation. We'll have another quiz to see if you guys remember some of this information. Then we're going to ask a general question: what style of leader are you? Okay. We actually have a poll we're going to take where people can anonymously, okay, it's all anonymous, okay, so you don't have to worry about you pick a name and it says, you know, you pick something, it's all anonymous, okay? Right? And then I'm going to summarize it. Then we'll have a question and answer period, okay? If this slide doesn't get out of this room, I'm going to, okay? All right. So my personal introduction, again, I am from Ventura, California. Okay. Just north of Los Angeles, about 1 hour. I have about 35 years total experience in management and leadership in the U.S. Navy and U.S. government. I have a lot of experience public speaking, and I've traveled throughout most of the world. Okay. And I speak a couple other languages, Shwaya Arabic. Okay. Shwaya. All right, so again, my travels have taught me a lot about different countries, different cultures. Okay, professionally speaking, as I said, I was in the Navy, worked as a supervisor in the Navy, okay? I worked as a leading petty officer, I worked as a chief petty officer. My responsibilities included operating and maintaining various systems for the U.S. Navy. And I then moved on to work for the U.S. government, Department of Defense. I worked basically as a test and evaluation project manager, okay, for the Navy, for new systems, various types of radars, etc. Okay, I worked as the advocate or project manager for the United States Coast Guard. Okay, and basically my responsibility was test and evaluation programs for the U.S. Navy, U.S. Coast Guard. The 2 ship programs I managed were the Coast Guard program, brand new, the largest program in the history of the United States Coast Guard. And then the latest in the Navy in terms of their warships. Okay, so my responsibility is basically looking at the total ship and all the requirements for the total ship, communications, radar, various other things. I then moved on. I left my government position, came here to Tunisia to help lead the Dreams of Motion organization. And basically our goal in Dreams of Motion is to be the #1 training facility in the world. So that's our goal. Okay, helping people achieve their goals. That's our vision. Okay, as a company, we started off online. We have resources and representatives from over 100 different countries around the world. Okay, we have the companies registered in California. We have an actual office here in Sfax, Tunisia. And really what we do is we provide, the focus is providing integrated training solutions. And what does that mean? Somebody asked me the other day, you know, when you develop skills for your career, your skills should complement each other, right? To be successful in today's environment, especially now, okay? Maybe more now than before. Because right now, economically speaking, a lot of companies are gonna struggle. So to get a job is gonna be more work for you to be able to get a decent career or have a decent career. What does that mean? It means that you need to be more competitive than the person next to you. You want to have a good career, you need to have more skills than the person next to you. That's what that means, okay? So what we do is we focus on providing languages, technical courses, and soft skill courses, which include things such as leadership, time management, communication, etc. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about defining leadership styles. When we talk about styles, as I mentioned, there's approximately 6 major styles, okay? They start off with coercive, okay? Right? They go to authoritative, or, oh my gosh, okay? Let me see, affiliative, authoritative, okay? Authoritative, okay? That word, being a native English speaker, that word kicks my butt, okay? Authoritative, okay? Democratic, pace setting, and coaching, okay? So authoritative, affiliative, democratic, pace setting, and coaching, right? Those are the 6 major styles, okay? All right. So of those 6 styles, basically coercive, what does that mean? That means relating to or using force or threats, right? That means threatening somebody to do something, forcing somebody to do something, okay? It's pretty simple, okay? Authoritative, okay? So authoritative means commanding and self-confident, likely to be respected and obeyed. So on this one, the military is a good example where authoritative leadership style is very common, okay? You have a chain of command, okay? It's expected that you follow the chain of command, okay? So again, in the military, authoritative leadership style is something where basically when you put on the uniform, there's certain expectations that you're gonna follow what you're told, okay? It's not about threatening people, it's not about forcing, it's more about the commanding style of leadership, okay? Then you have affiliative, okay? Affiliative is basically relating to the formation of social or emotional bonds with others, okay? So that's where you get along with a group of people, you develop bonds with those people to get things accomplished. All right? Okay, so you're working with people as a team, okay? So you lead through relationships. Okay, the next one is democratic. What does this mean? Basically, you have a leader, but everyone is involved in the decision-making process, okay? So as a leader, you might go off and say, okay, this is what I think. What do you guys think? Give me your feedback. Now, the group leader has the authority to make the final decision, but he or she wants the input from all the other people, okay? So if you're managing a company and you have, you know, your leaders in the company or your managers in the company, or maybe you want to go to just the employees, you engage everybody into the decision-making process, get their feedback. It doesn't mean that you don't make the decision. You're still going to make the decision, but you want their feedback before you make a decision. Okay, so that's what we call democratic. Okay, next one is what we call pace setting. So you lead by example. A good example of this would be, say like you have a company and maybe you want to set the example for the other employees. So you're always the first person there in the morning and maybe you're the last to leave, okay? Right? Maybe you know, there's some kind of challenge that you need to face. So you're working really hard and you want to show people through that work you're doing, this is the example they should follow. Okay, so they say high expectations. Okay, so it's what we call pace setting. Okay, the next one is coaching. Coaching is basically where you're working with a group of people. Okay, some cases individual people to accomplish the overall goals. Okay, so you're working with individual people as part of an overall puzzle or overall package. Right? Makes sense? So you're coaching. So think about in sports. You're playing soccer or football or something, okay? The coach works with individual players, but also with the entire team, right? He gives them advice. He says, okay, I think this is what you should do. Okay? Right, so it's what we call coaching. Okay, so everybody get that? Let me go back to it again because I think it's important to do this one more time, okay? Okay, again, 6 styles: coercive, authoritative, affiliative, democratic, pace setting, coaching. 6 styles, right? Coercive is basically making somebody do something, forcing somebody to do something, threatening somebody, okay? Authoritative, okay? Often seen maybe in the police, for example, if you're a policeman, okay? Somebody in the fire department, in the military, okay? So there's a certain hierarchy or certain organizational role that people have when they wear a uniform. Okay, affiliative, working with people through relationships. So you develop bonds with people, social bonds, emotional bonds to accomplish things. Okay, democratic is basically where you have a leader, and that leader, he or she engages people in the organization, looks for their feedback. Now that doesn't mean, again, that he or she is not going to make the decision, because they probably will, but they want the feedback from the rest of the team. Okay? And pace setting is where you're setting the example. Again, the best example is if you want people to work hard, then you work hard and you want them to follow by example. They see you working hard, you lead by example. Okay? And then coaching, which is basically working with people in some cases one-on-one, okay, to encourage them as part of an overall package. Okay, so if you have a team of 5 people, maybe you're working with this person, then you're working with this person, you're working with this person as part of the overall package. Okay, so there's a big picture. Each of those individuals fit into that big picture. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to launch the first quiz. Okay, so let me see. Okay. So you guys should see the poll here. Basically, what it says is, what were the types of leadership styles that we just discussed? Okay. So you have a chance to answer the poll. Okay. We'll see how much you're paying attention. You guys can see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
can, yeah.
This is my way to see if people are falling asleep or listening to me. This is actually a nice little option. I like this option.
We've sent a trick.
Huh?
We've sent the reply, of course.
Okay, everybody done?
Yes.
No, 5 of 8.
Can you hear me?
What's that?
Can you hear me?
Can we see you?
Alicia, we can hear you, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, Alessia,
okay,
how
thank
are
you.
you?
I'm okay. Yes, I've heard what you say. Yeah, I have some problems because I'm new in the Zoom.
Okay.
So yes, I answered. I think I understand. I chose. Oh, I won't say the answer, right? You can see it.
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, I can see you here.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. So 6 of 8. Anybody else need any more time? Okay. So okay. It looks like one person chose friendly. So friendly is not a leadership style. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
International is not a leadership style. Okay. Winner is not a leadership style. Okay.
Aggressive too.
Huh?
Aggressive too.
And aggressive. Well, nobody chose aggressive. Nobody chose aggressive. Okay. So, okay, good. So I'm going to share the results. You guys will be able to see. Okay. So everybody was correct. They chose Democratic. Okay. Everybody was good on that. Okay. Most people chose authoritative. Okay. Most people chose coercive. Okay. Okay, so we have some work to do. Okay, we have some work to do. Okay. So all in all, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Again, I am the only person here, as far as I know, that has English as their first language. So it might have been a little bit confusing. Certainly, it could have been a little bit confusing. So.
Yes, Rick. Maybe it's because you're giving us 6 new terms.
Maybe because I'm doing what?
You are giving us 6 new terms.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why.
These, and some of these are new terms. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the point was to be able to show.
Most of us are familiar with them.
Yeah, I think most people are, but there
Some
might be a
and
few
some are
people
not.
that aren't. And again, part of my goal here is to make sure what I'm saying is understood, right? So if I am not communicating in a way that people understand what I'm saying, then there's something I need to change. Okay, so anyway, the bottom line is most people did pretty good. So let's go ahead and go on, okay? So let's move on to the next slide, okay? So when do you use specific leadership styles? This is something very important. When do you use, okay? So there are, again, the 6 leadership styles. This one, you'll notice is a little bit different. We have visionary, okay? Right? Basically, visionary is somebody that says, come with me, okay? So this terminology, visionary, is a little bit different than the 6 I just talked about. What you'll find on here is you won't find the coercive, okay? So coercive is not on here, visionary is, that's the only difference. But basically, the commanding is what we talked about earlier. You see that often in the military, you see that often in the police, maybe law enforcement. Basically, it demands immediate compliance. Okay, if a policeman says, give me your identification, you don't say why, okay, right? So basically, this leadership style is unique to certain situations. If you see an accident, and somebody needs help, and you tell somebody, call the ambulance, okay? It's not, can you please call the ambulance? You say, call the ambulance, okay? It's commanding, right? Okay, again, pace setting is where you're setting high standards for performance, okay? And the point here is do as I do, follow my lead, okay? So in this case, you're wanting to show that you're conscientious, okay? Democratic basically gets consensus through people participating, right? You want their feedback, you want their input, okay? So you say, what do you think, right? You want their ideas, okay? It's all about collaboration, team leadership, and communication. Affiliative basically is about building emotional bonds with people, okay? The people come first, right? So you work with empathy, building relationships, communication. Coaching, as we said before, is developing people for the future, empowering people, okay? Try to do this, try to do that, developing others. And visionary, again, was something we didn't talk about before. Some people say Steve Jobs used a visionary leadership for Apple, right? Motivate people towards a future, right? So those are, again, with the exception of visionary, all the rest are the same as the previous one, okay? So let me explain what this means. Basically, there are steps people go through in terms of growth, professional growth. And there are steps you take as a leader to grow people. So if you think about a brand new company, okay? The first step for most new people is they're told what to do, okay? You do this task, right? It's because you're still learning, okay? So as a leader, you have to recognize they don't necessarily have the knowledge, they don't have the competence, right? The competencies yet, right? So you're basically directing them. Okay? The next step is you're coaching them, you're working with them, okay? Here's what you need to accomplish and here's why you need to accomplish it, right? The third step is supporting. So in supporting your employees as a manager, okay, you want to give them the tools, you know, so they're able to do the job. Maybe the tool is they need additional training to do the job. Maybe they need something unique for the job to be able to do the job successfully, okay? The fourth and final step is to be able to delegate, okay? So no longer do you have to make all the decisions. You delegate the decision-making process to your people, okay? So again, it's 4 steps, okay? First step is giving tasking. Second step is coaching people. The third step is supporting them. The fourth step is delegating to them, okay? And this is true in many companies or many situations. Okay, so if we think about the situational leadership theory, on the left-hand side, you look at the readiness of the followers. Okay, on the right-hand side, you look at the behavior of the leaders. Okay, so in the beginning, okay, if the followers are unable or unwilling to do something, the leader needs to be clear and needs to give very specific direction. Okay, the next step is, let's say the followers are unable to do something, so they don't have the competencies. Maybe their job is in engineering. They don't have the competency to do the job yet, okay? But they're willing to do it. They're willing to try, okay? So in that case, the leader gives them tasking, okay? But it's at a high level, okay? With boundaries, okay? The third step is they're able, well, not the third step, but the type of situation is they're able to do it, but they're not willing, okay? In that case, the leader needs to provide support and participation, okay? They need to be engaged, okay, to help motivate, okay? Part of supporting is showing by an example, motivating by an example, okay? We think about pace setting, that could be part of this, right? Leading by example. The fourth one, which is really the goal should be, is if you have followers that both have the competencies and the commitment, so they're able and they're willing, the leader lets the people do the job, okay? They delegate to the people. They delegate to their employees. Why? Because the employees have the competencies, they have the commitment, okay? So these are 4 different situations, okay? 4, I hope this is clear what I'm saying here, right? So often with new employees, either they follow under the first line there, unable and unwilling, or unable and willing, right? Most new employees, maybe they don't have the experience, but they're willing to try, okay? In some cases, maybe they're unable to do something, and maybe they're also unwilling, okay? But as they mature, okay, as they develop their experience, okay, your leadership style changes. That's the point here. Your leadership style has to change to the situation. That's the point. Okay. So one of the point here I wanted to make about situational leadership is that a lot of people say, I can lead through making a phone call. I can lead by sending an email. You know, face-to-face leadership is 100% effective, more so than by phone or text or email. Someone says, I'm going to send them an email and tell them what to do. Okay, well, that's fine. In today's world, you know, that's often necessary. Okay, and look at us now. Okay, so it's often necessary, but normally your face-to-face leadership is going to be much more effective than using it some other way. Okay, right? Makes sense? Okay.
Yes.
So we have another quiz. Okay. So let me go here. Give me a second. Oops. Give me just a moment here to. Okay, so here we go. So in this right here, okay, this is going back to the different leadership styles. So you have 4 questions, okay? All you need to do is answer the question. So question number 1 is democratic leadership is telling people what to do without getting their feedback, okay? All right? So it's either yes or no, true or false, okay? Pace-setting leadership is waiting for someone to do something first. Again, the answer is either yes or no. Affiliative leadership is forcing someone to do something, okay? And then the 4th one is authoritative leadership is waiting for your team to decide on something, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to see if you guys can guess what the correct definition is. Okay. Okay, you guys still trying to figure this out? Okay. So basically, let's go to question number 1. Okay. So question number 1 Democratic leadership is telling people what to do without getting their feedback. Okay, 100%. You guys answered that correctly. 100%. Okay, no, you actually try to get the feedback, right? So that was good. Good answer. Everybody got that correct. Okay, pace setting leadership is waiting for someone to do something first. Okay, no. Okay, so 5 out of 7 got that wrong. Okay. Pace setting leadership is you as a leader initiate it and they follow, okay? You want them to follow your example, okay? So the answer should have been no, okay? And the third question, affiliate leadership is forcing someone to do something. No, remember, it's about creating emotional and social bonds, right? So it should have been no. So 3, 4 got it right, 3 did not get it right, okay? And again, I can't see your name, so I don't know who did and who didn't, right? Okay, number 4, authoritative leadership is waiting for your team to decide. No, remember, it's all about, a policeman doesn't necessarily, there's an emergency, somebody robbed a bank, somebody got in an accident, okay? If you're the senior policeman on scene, or when I was in the military, if you're the senior officer on scene, okay, everybody else on scene, you don't wait for your team to decide, okay? You take immediate action, okay? Immediate action. So authoritative leadership is not about waiting for people to make a decision. As the leader, you need to make that decision, okay? So let me go ahead and share the results, okay? So you guys can see the results there, right? So everybody got number 1 correct, so that was good. Most people got number 2 wrong, okay? So our pace setting is the leader sets the pace, the others follow, right? Then number 3, again, affiliate, okay, so half and half, okay, but the answer was no. It's not about forcing people. You use relationships to get things accomplished, okay? Right? So with the 4th one, again, you use relationships to get things accomplished. I'm sorry, with the 3rd one, you use relationships. With the 4th one, it's not about waiting for your team to decide. Use the police as an example. Use the military as an example. Okay, you make a quick decision. Okay, right? All right. Any questions on that? No? Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I want to know the difference between coercive and authoritative, and commanding. I know commanding is like authoritative, but I want to know the difference between coercive and authoritative.
When you coerce, they're a little bit different. When you coerce somebody, it's like you're forcing them to do it. Commanding or authoritative is using your authority.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for example, when I was in the military, the people that were under me, okay, I had the authority to say, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, right? But I didn't threaten them, okay? It's part of the institution, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's just a little bit difference between them.
It's a little bit different.
The concept is the same.
What's that?
I said the method, maybe the method is the same, but authoritative is more related to your position, maybe.
Well, let me give you another example. Let's say you're working, let's say you're not in the military, not in the police, or some other institution that normally uses commanding or authoritative. Let's say you have a private company, and you say, you know what, you're talking to your employee. If you don't get this stuff done, I'm going to make your life so miserable. Your life is going to be so miserable, it's not going to be worth living, right? Okay? That's what I would call, that's coercive, okay? That's threatening somebody, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you don't do this job, I'm going to make sure that you know, your life is ruined, okay?
Mm-hmm. But
I'll
sorry,
come after
Rick,
you now, right? So you're threatening, you're forcing, right?
Mhm. But can we call somebody like that a leader?
Well, it's a style. I mean, I personally don't consider that kind of a person a leader. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have people say that that's an example of leadership style. So it's not necessarily a good leader. Okay. Right?
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. You know, to me, somebody that does things by threatening people or forcing or ridiculing or that to me is not leadership. But by definition, there is something to describe that style. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about something. Let's change the subject a little bit here. We talked about the leadership styles. We talked about the way that you should act under different. We're talking about leadership styles. We're talking about the way you should act under different situations for leadership. So the point is that people often confuse management and leadership, okay? So they're different functions, okay? So if we think about a manager versus a leader, okay? Basically, leading requires a different set of skills than managing does. Now, I will make the argument that any good manager has leadership quality. To me, that's what I think, okay? I've been in both positions. I've been a leader and I've been a manager, okay? And to me, any good manager has leadership qualities, okay? But the point about leading is about people. Managing is about resources, okay? Leading is about having a vision and a strategy, okay? Inspiring people, okay? You're people focused. You are willing to take risk, okay? Leaders are willing to take risk, okay? They're looking for change, okay? They're proactive, okay? They raise expectations and they ask a lot of questions, okay? Managers tend to focus on policies and procedures, paperwork, okay? They like to see the paperwork. Managers tend to worry about power and control, okay? They want power and control. They are work focused, they're not people focused, okay? Did that task get done, right? A lot of managers operate as authoritative, okay? So you do what I said, you do it now. I'm the manager, you do what I did, or you do what I tell you to do, okay? They don't like risk. They're afraid of risk, or they fear risk, okay? They want stability, okay? They tend to be more reactive because they're not thinking always ahead, okay? Again, a leader thinks ahead. A leader tries to see a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, right? And a manager likes to maintain things the way they are. They don't want change, okay? Change is bad to them, okay? Now, there's an area where these two areas or two roles overlap, okay? Both a leader and a manager, they want to accomplish a goal, okay? Both of them are organizational figureheads, okay? Both of them, maybe in a different way, can motivate others, and both of them use resources. The leader tends to focus on the resources of people. The manager, it could be money, it could be equipment, it could be people, okay? But again, any effective, in my opinion, manager also has leadership qualities. That's the point here, okay? So here's a question I'm gonna ask you guys, and then I'm gonna post one more poll. What leadership style do you guys use? Authoritative, remember, authoritative is think about the military, think about the police department. Okay, coaching, think about working with individual people as part of a larger picture. Okay, affiliative, think in terms of working with people based upon relationships. Okay, I have a good relationship with this person, so because we have a good relationship, we get things done. Okay, pace setting. Again, pace setting is setting the example that you want others to follow. Right? Coercive, forcing somebody to do something, threatening somebody. Right? The last one here was democratic. Okay, so democratic is you want people to give you their feedback before you make a decision. Okay, so what leadership style do you use? And I want you to give some examples. But before you do that, I'm going to take one more poll. Okay, so let me go back over here. We're going to do a poll. Okay, the last one. Then we're going to give you. So what I want you to do is fill out, based upon these 6 choices, identify the type of leadership style you think you are most effective in, okay? So take a look at that. Okay, we have 2 more, 7, okay, 1 more. Okay, good, good. So let me share the results. Okay, so interesting. So I'm curious about who put down coercive, okay? Most people picked democratic, okay? Let me see, coaching, okay? 1 person picked authoritative, okay? So it looks like most people chose the type of leadership style they practice the most is democratic. So inviting people for their feedback and opinion, and coaching, working with people. Okay, good, good, good. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So you guys all had a chance to see that?
Yes. Yeah? Yes, it's interesting to know.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to know.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to, before we continue, I want to go down to summary, okay? So the styles, coercive, affiliative, pace setting, authoritative, democratic, coaching. 6 styles, generally speaking. You saw one earlier called visionary. You know, there are some, you know, different ways that people label styles. These are the 6 to me that makes the most sense. Okay, the key point is using the right style for the right situation. Think about it. Is it emergency? In an emergency, you don't have time to ask people's opinions, right? As a leader, you have to make a decision immediately, okay? You see an accident, you don't have time to get feedback from people. What do you think? What should we do? Okay. Maybe you need to make an immediate decision. Okay. Okay. Is it a new team? Maybe you just started a job as a supervisor, as a leader for a group of people, and it's a new team. Okay. So maybe you need to coach them. Okay. Right. Help them. Okay. Maybe you need to set an example for them. Okay. Maybe you have somebody that's an underperformer. What does that mean? They're not performing to the right level. So again, maybe you coach that individual to try to motivate them. Okay. So applying the right style for the right situation is critical. Okay. Really, really, really important. Okay, any questions on anything we talked about?
So, can we be or use different relationship in different situations, right?
That's correct. Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because if you think, Leslie, if you think about what we just talked about, the dynamics of any given situation are going to change, right? So if time is a critical thing, again, if somebody robs a bank, okay, as a policeman, time is important, okay? If you see somebody having a heart attack or having a medical issue, time is a very important factor, right? You don't have time to think about things, okay? You know, if I've got 6 people with me and one of them has a medical condition and maybe they fall to the ground, they faint, I'm not going to turn around to the 4 people and say, okay, so do you guys think that we should call the ambulance? What do you think? What do you think? No, right? It's an immediate decision, right?
Yes, I agree.
So compare that to, so say you start a company and you're surrounded by people that are really smart, and so you want their feedback. Okay, so you know, this person, tell me what you think we should do. This person, tell me what you think we should do. Okay, so again, it's 100% about the situation.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
could I intervene? Could I be relative, affiliative, and coercive in the same time? Because I think to be democratic or democratic skills or leadership, it depends on the culture, the skills, information, and the performance of others. You know, democratic without knowledge or without performance or without skills leads to the catastrophic result or the catastrophic influence on this catastrophic situation.
Okay, let me make sure.
I think sorry, I think to be democratic, it's depend on other also.
So let me make sure. Let me make sure I understood. So you're asking if we can have more than one style at the same time?
Yes. Could I
Yes.
be on the? Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, again, you know, people. This is Rick's opinion. People naturally, based upon their personality, maybe based upon their training, based upon their experience, they may be more comfortable with certain styles. For an example, for me, being in the military, I don't have any problems with using authority. I'm very comfortable with using authority if I need to. I prefer to ask somebody's opinion. So I prefer to take a democratic approach and say, okay, Rami, what do you think? Mariam, what do you think? But if I need to, if I feel like I need to, I don't have any problems using my authority to do something or to ask people to do something. So I think some of it depends upon your experience, your background, and what you feel comfortable with. Some people don't feel comfortable telling somebody to do something, right? Some people feel too comfortable. Okay, they don't want to get somebody's opinion. They don't want to ask for somebody's feedback. They like to tell people what to do. Okay, right? So to me, you know, it's knowing how to. I would always prefer my style is to ask somebody's opinion first. Okay, I would always prefer, because to me, you know, that's more of a sign of respect. Okay, Rami, if I said, okay, Rami, tell me what you think about this. I would prefer to get your feedback than to tell you, okay, Rami, you do this. Mariam, you do that. Okay, Saida, you do this. Okay, I would prefer to ask people and not tell them. But in some situations, you need to tell them. Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. Thank you. Because that was a good question. That was a good question. That's what makes it difficult, to be honest with you, because there isn't just one style you can use all the time. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for this great presentation, Mr. I have a question.
Sure.
What can you do to motivate a team? How we can motivate them?
Is you know, to
Yeah, a big
me,
problem.
what's that?
It is a big problem here.
I tell you what, one of the first things we're going to do when we finish this quarantine, and I'm serious about what I'm going to say right now, we're going to start a leadership academy in Tunisia, okay? And we're going to focus on that 100%, okay? Because to me, I 100% agree with you. Now that doesn't mean there are not good leaders and managers in Tunisia. There are, just like there are good companies in Tunisia. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done, okay? So to me, the best way to motivate the workforce is to give them, well, there's three things. One, make them feel like they're part of the company's success. If they are part of the company's success, they feel like they have ownership, like they are part of the company. There's not somebody temporary, okay, I've got you for 6 months, then bye-bye, okay? If they are part of the long-term plan, they're gonna make a commitment, right? That's one.
Right.
Two is to recognize their efforts, okay? Show recognition, something simple. You know, people always tell me the only thing people in Tunisia care about is money, okay? Everybody tells me that. All Tunisians, they only care about money. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that, okay? Money is important, but so is somebody saying you did a good job, okay? So is recognition, okay? So to me, the first thing is make somebody feel like they're part of the solution, they're part of the company, they're part of the success. Number two, recognize their efforts, okay? Number three, show them respect, respect them, okay?
Okay.
You know,
Thank you.
I think, you know, those things combined with some other things, you know, it's all about creating a positive company culture. When you create a positive company culture, people want to come to work, okay? You know, they want to be there, okay? They're willing to work hard. You know, if we all know of the people when they go to work, they really don't want to be there, okay? They're looking out the window, thinking they'd rather be at the beach, okay? Right? Okay? So you want people in a company that are motivated. You want people in a company that feel like that company belongs to them too, okay? So the company's success is their success. Their success is the company's success. That's the way you build a winning organization, okay? I don't know if I answered your question.
Thank you.
But it takes, but you know, Islam, it takes a lot of work. And to be honest with you, again, I've had a couple of months to think about this being here at home. And one of the things I really want to do here shortly is to start working more in this area, because I think it's something that really could be useful here. You know, I really think it could be. So, okay.
Okay.
Okay, shall I talk?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
of course.
All right, yeah. So basically, I don't have a specific question, but I do love like when we talked about like the difference between management and leadership. But what I do believe, like how can be like a manager and like he or she didn't have these skills, all right? And even though this manager, like let's say like a president or like someone who's like a leader, like in a company. So he must have a group working with him. Yes. So we can apply all the rules of leadership. Yeah. And at what you mentioned before, like when it comes to motivated, so let's say the CEO motivate like the team, like I don't believe the CEO can talk with all like the workers. Do you know what I mean? But he can like make a good group, and even the group they must work in like I don't say like specific skills like when it comes to leadership, but I do believe all the skills. So in my opinion, so when it comes to the managing, it must have like more the styles in leading, and you have to create a balance. Basically, it depends which kind of company, but it's managing. It's not only about like how to manage resource, because in the resource in the company, it's just I would say it's the most important is people. It's not about like how like manage the production or the money, but if you don't have like good people or good managers or good worker, so they don't work well. So how do they produce good things?
So that was more just a comment. Okay. Yeah, you know, my experience has taught me working in both positions in the past. You know, I mean, I've met some really, really good managers in the past. When I was still in the government, you know, I managed a project, and a lot of my friends were also managers, and project managers or senior managers. And to me, the ones that came from the military were the best managers. You know why?
I know
because they had strong leadership skills. Okay.
Basically, they have like a strong, and then they must follow like specific rules. So in this case, we should, yeah, I do believe like those persons, they must have like these kind of high skills, but at the same time, they must follow like rules.
Yes, certainly. But the reason why, let me tell you what I think.
So yeah, it shouldn't be like a democratic.
Well, yeah, I think again, it's both. You know, in the military, you know, it's a different environment than when you leave the military and you're in a company. In a company, you should engage people, get their recommendations, get their feedback. I mean, sometimes, you know, even in a company though, you have to make decisions that people don't like, right? Yeah, you know, we could spend maybe one day we could schedule another session and focus just on the topic of management versus leadership, because I think there's a lot to talk about in that area. There actually is. And people get them mixed up all the time. People assume that just because somebody's a manager, they also have leadership qualities. Most of the people I knew in my previous career that graduated from university, to be honest with you, they were not very good leaders.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying anything against them, but most people don't get training on how to be a leader. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It might be, I would say, with more like experience.
Over time and experience is how they get it. Right?
Yeah.
I went through a course when I was in the Navy. I went through a course that's called NAVLET. It's this Navy leadership, and basically it's a dedicated course, and you go through, and it's a dedicated period of time. So it's training, and then they put you in the position, of course. But again, too many people I know, they went from university basically into a management position over time, but without any real leadership experience. So what they became managers, but they didn't know how to be leaders, okay?
Yeah.
And again, that to me is a mistake, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I totally agree with you because if you have this background of like managing, yeah, which
Yeah.
means basically like your brain is more focused on like how to manage like basically time, resources. Like I shouldn't spend like more resources here. I must like spend like more money in this thing. Let's say if I have a money, but no. I wouldn't like send people to do training. I save this
Right.
money, let's say, to buy something like as a supply for the company. But in my perspective, in my humble like opinion, I would say if you spend money like on people, so basically you give them like leadership,
Okay, yeah,
and if you give them like a other position, they must take like good decisions, which
right.
means you created already a leadership in that position.
Yeah, no, I think, what we'll do, let's plan over the next week or two. We'll schedule a session. We'll talk more specifically on the topic. We'll prepare something to talk more specifically about. Matter of fact, next week we were going to do a session about how to develop leadership skills. Okay, what are the techniques that you can use to develop those skills? So why don't we plan next week when we have it? We'll also get into a little more about some of those nuances between management and leadership. I think it'd be really helpful for people.
Okay,
So speaking about that,
yeah, just a few questions.
yeah,
Yeah, just one question. Like, in your experience or in your thought, or like, does like anyone must like follow one style, like to be a leadership, or you must do all of them?
no. For me, I look at that list. I practice every single one of them. Every single one of those I practice. Okay. Uh, So to me, it just depends upon the situation, but every single one of those I practice. Okay.
Yeah, basically, but if you practice all of them, so you will be like a good leadership as
Yeah.
well as you can teach all these skills.
Yeah. Um, Give me 1 minute. My computer's about ready to die. I don't want to die right in the middle. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah.
Yeah, that would not be good for it to. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the key, and this is the hard part. I think the key is, again, understanding in what specific situation, what style is going to be most effective, right? Um, Yelling at somebody, screaming at somebody, most of the time doesn't work, right?
Okay, but as you mentioned before, like when you talked about like the directive behavior, like can like let's say we are like doing training, yeah. So can like the trainer at the beginning, which means like the S1 in the directing, yeah, can note this person like he or she able to follow this one or this style or this style.
Maybe I don't understand the question. So you're
Like
asking if people can be trained to use a certain type?
yes, in like a specific style.
Oh yeah.
Because
Certainly.
because you mentioned like you give us like directive behavior and like supportive
Yes.
behavior.
Yes.
All right, so that are like it's kind of fourth stage, yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yep.
I would say like if you have a group, yeah,
Yep.
like you can't be specific to every single person, and you can't guess like if this person he is like interested in this style or in this style. But I would say like in the first stage, yeah, in the directing stage. So I don't know, like you can maybe there is a method, yeah, to put like every single person in which style he loves or she loves, or he is like maybe interesting, or like do you feel like this person is good and he can continue in this specific style?
No, I think to me, again, I'm trying to make sure I understand. I think that you have to look at each individual person and
Yes.
understand for each individual person, what is the techniques that's going to work best for that person. So if you have a group of people, let's say you have a new team of people, 4 out of 5 people that you have, they're really excited. Maybe they don't have a lot of knowledge yet. Maybe they don't have experience, but they're very excited. You have one person that for some reason just doesn't seem like they're really motivated, right? They're just like there. So again, they're all new, but again, the one individual has different characteristics than the other 4 people because they're motivated. He or she's not. So even though they have the same experience, you're going to have to treat them a little bit differently because it's almost like when you're practicing leadership, it's almost like doing a psychological evaluation. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like you got my point. Like I was thinking about this point.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, it is. It's understanding human behavior is what it is, right?
Yeah, because if you have already groups, so like you can't recognize all of them. Like you don't know like the personality and this thing, but at the beginning, like the first step of direction them, maybe here it will be this stuff of like psychology and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we're going to continue doing this every week. We'll have different themes. We'll pick different things. Next Sunday, we'll focus on talking about some of the skills, techniques that we can use, and so we'll make that the priority. Certainly, as I mentioned earlier, we want to start engaging people more through the technology through distance learning. So this is not the last time we're going to do it. We'll continue doing this on a regular basis, as long as there's no flies around, because they're making me crazy. Okay. Anyway, seriously, listen, thank you all of you for joining us. I know some of you couldn't join until late, but I appreciate all of you being here. Again, I will save the video. I was able to record it, and I'll save it. I'll modify slightly to get rid of a few small things, but in general, make it available for everybody. And hopefully all of us were able to get something from this. And when we do the one next week, you're more than welcome to invite anybody that wants to participate. I know for a lot of people, using Zoom is a little bit different. Some people don't feel 100% comfortable going through the application. It might be a little bit confusing, but hopefully the more and more, I think the quality is much better than Skype. So I prefer using this.
Yeah, so Richard, so you can go, you can use like the new technology of Google. Yeah, it's called Google Meet.
I'm looking at that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I test, and it's
Microsoft Teams, maybe. You mean?
No, it's Google Meet.
Yeah, Google Meet.
No, I know Microsoft Teams also.
What's that?
There is another application, Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, Microsoft Team. Yeah, there's Microsoft Team. There's Google. There's a couple out there, and we're trying to do it. We're trying to figure out. I think the problem most people have with Zoom is that you have to go through Zoom to get to the meeting. I think with the ones with Google, it basically takes you right into the meeting, I believe. If you have a Gmail account, I think.
No, you can join directly by the link.
Oh, okay, well, then
you have to start like the session. Then, like when you create, like just when you log in,
or maybe
just create the name, and then it will gives you like the link. And when you share the link, they can all of them join.
Yeah, certainly. I think if that might be a better alternative for us. I'll look into it this week, and then whatever the vehicle is, whether we use something from Google or Microsoft or continue using Zoom, again, appreciate you guys being here.
Hey, Rick, I have a question before you
Sure.
leave, please. Okay, so as I see that this leadership is very important. So for someone who wants to develop this skill of leadership, and they didn't have the chance to practice it. I mean, like for example, having a work to be responsible for leading a group of people. So how to develop it then?
We're going to talk about it next week.
Okay, all my questions are kept for the last week, for the next week.
Yes, I still have to make dinner, okay?
Okay, something else, another comment. Okay, don't tell me next week, please. Okay, so we can say that this is the best leadership style. For example, I don't know, democratic is the best leadership style. We can say something like this.
Say that one more time, that we can say that this is the best leadership style?
Yeah, for example, we cannot pick a style and say that this is the best.
No, because I think it depends upon the situation. It's 100% situational.
All right, thank you.
I think, personally speaking, no, you know what? I'm not even going to say it, because to me, it's 100% the situation. If you have somebody that's not motivated, maybe you need to coach them. If you have people that maybe need to be motivated, a large group, maybe you need to set the pace, set the example. If you're in an emergency, maybe you need to be able to use a commanding style. If you have a company with a bunch of smart people around you, maybe you want their ideas, right? So it's 100% based upon the situation.
Thank you. Okay, keep in mind my question for next week, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, take care, okay?
Okay, thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishad. So it was
Thank
like
you,
nice
sir.
talking to you,
Thank you, all of you.
to all the participants here.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for joining, okay?
You're welcome.
You.
Okay. So I'm going to say bye-bye.
Bye bye.